Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to another video where I'm gonna be showing you how to solve the problem 3 in problem set 1. So again, as I always mention, I really do recommend that you try all the problems before you see how I did them. That way you'll learn. If you always watch the videos without trying to work on the problems yourself, then believe me, you're not gonna get it very easily, okay? So if you want what you learn to be burned into your head and that you don't forget it, then you have to practice. You have to try on the problems yourself, try as much as you can. It's okay to take a lot of time working on the problem, okay? Because the first time it's gonna take very long time, and then you're gonna improve, and then you're gonna improve until you can solve the problem without even thinking about it. So I'll assume that you tried to solve the problem on your own, and now you're seeking for the correct solution to do it. Alright, so here we have problem 3. So write a C program which reads an integer n from the standard input. N is the size of the array R. Fill array R with n integers, again from the standard input, and then print out the numbers of R and their maximum. So basically it's the problem statement is self-explanatory. So it is asking us to build an array, okay, an array of numbers. So the size of the array, how many numbers we have in the array, is called n, which is going to ask the user to type in that. And then we're gonna fill the content, fill the n slots of the array with n numbers, again given by the user from the standard input. And then basically we have to iterate through all the elements of the array and then print them one by one. And at the same time, we have to calculate the maximum element of those elements and then print it out. Okay? So let's start working on the problem. So the first thing, I'm going to declare the variable integer n. So int n. And then I'm going to read that variable from the user. So printf and then n. And then I'm going to read n from the user, so scanf, and then it's %d, and then I'm going to give it the address of n. So far, so good. So it takes a number, there's no bug, everything is working perfectly. Now the next thing we have to do is to declare a variable of size n. So to do that, I'm going to type in int, because again the variable elements are integers, so n is the size of the R array. Fill array R with n integers, so the content of the array are integers. That's why I've chosen the int type here. So int R is of size n. And then the next step is basically to fill the array with n integers. So I'm going to do that with a for loop. So for, let's first declare the counter I. So for I, variable I, iterator, starts from 0, while I is less than n I plus plus. And for every iteration, basically we're gonna ask the user to type in a number, and then we're gonna scanf that number. So print f, and I'm gonna type in R of, and then an opening a square bracket, and then an integer, which is basically going to be I, and then I'm gonna close the square bracket and then colon. So let's try that out, see if that prints the way we want. So I'm going to give it 5 here. And as you can see here, it keeps printing array of random numbers. And those random numbers, because we didn't supply the variable. So the first variable must be the I there. So I there the I will be replaced by that %d, 5 again, and as you can see, it prints R of 0, R of 1, R of 2, R of 3, and so on. So the next step after printing the slot that we want to get from the user, the next step is to scanf that slot. So I'm going to type in scanf, and then it's an integer, so that's %d or %i, whatever you want. And then I'm going to give it the address of R of I. Okay, so every time we give it R of I, we send the address, not the value itself, we send the address, and then the scanf function will take input from the keyboard and put that input there. Okay, so let's hit run, and as you can see, I'm gonna give it 5 here, and now it asks me for R of 0, I give it, R of 1, I give it, R of 2, I give it, and so on and so forth. Now after we filled the array, the next step is basically to print the array, right? So print out the numbers of the array. I'm gonna stop here, okay? I'm gonna get back to their maximum later. So again, we're gonna have to iterate through the array and print the numbers one by one. So I'm gonna copy this for loop and paste it here. And then basically it's going to print R of I is basically %d, and then I'm going to give it R of I. And now when I run, I'm going to fill it with random values. And as you can see, R of 0 is 2, R of 1 is 3, R of 2 is 4, R of 3 is 97, and R of 4 is 6. So it's basically working. And I'm gonna here give it a backslash n, so that we jump to the next line every time we print a value. So now the last part that is remaining is to calculate their maximum. So again, I'm gonna do another for loop. I'm gonna iterate through the numbers another time and then search for the maximum element. So I'm gonna copy paste the for loop here, and then I'm gonna calculate the maximum. So first of all, I'm gonna declare a variable called max, okay, and I'm gonna give it the first number of the array, so R of 0. And basically the way that I'm gonna solve it, the way that I'm gonna do it is I'm going to initialize the max with the first number of the array, and then I'm going to iterate through the rest of the elements of the array. If I can find a value that is bigger than the value of max that I have so far, then I'm going to update max with that value. Okay, so I'm going to keep iterating, updating the value of max of whatever value I get that is bigger than max. Okay, so now the iteration will start from 1. Well, it can be started from 0. It will not change the result. But let's start it from 1. So basically we're going to say if the array of I is bigger than max, then max will have that array of I. Basically that's it. If we can find a value that is bigger than max, then max will be replaced by that value. And finally, we're gonna print the maximum value. So max is, and then I'm gonna give it max. And let's try that out. So 5 elements, 2, 1, 8, 7, 9, and as you can see, it prints the whole array, and then it tells you that max is 9. The biggest number is 9. That's why max is 9. So basically that's how you do it. But you might ask me, can't we just like take these two instructions where we're gonna be searching for the max and put them inside this for loop. So it prints the number and at the same time it checks for the maximum. Well, we can, and that's what we're gonna do now. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that maximum declaration here, and then I'm gonna take that if statement inside the other for loop here, and I'm gonna delete that extra for loop, okay? Because these two instructions are independent, but both of them require they are independent, and both of them requires iterating the array, okay? So why don't we just do them in parallel? Why don't we just do them in the same time? So print and then check for the maximum, and then reprint again and then check for the maximum, and then reprint again and check for the maximum. And once we're done, we have our numbers printed on the screen, but at the same time we have the maximum value calculated, so we just print it out. So that's basically how we do it. And let's try to compile and test this again, and I'm gonna give it 76994, and as you can see it's the same answer. So the biggest number among all of these numbers is 90. So basically it works. So that's it for this video. See you next time.